Johnette speaking.
Hey, Jonah, I emailed you like 20 minutes ago. Did you not get it?
No, I'm working on something.
So you don't check your email?
Well, I do check my email, but I usually do it late in the afternoon around 5 o'clock. I'm trying to get some stuff done here.
That's weird. Well, maybe I should just ask you while I have you on the phone, and then you can check your email later.
Well, why did you call me anyway?
To see if you got my email?
But if you were going to call me, why'd you even send me an email?
Because email is usually the fastest and most pain-free way to communicate.
Really? For whom?
Seriously? Are you just having a bad day?
I really got to go.
For the first time in history, there are 4 generations of employees in the workplace, and the City of Greenville is no exception. Each generation brings its own unique experiences, values, and perspectives, which not only affect how they approach their work, but also affect how they interact with their coworkers. In this video, we'll learn about the characteristics of each generation and where they may conflict, as well as give strategies for interacting with multiple generations in your work group. Before we take a more in-depth look at each of the generations, it's important to remember that these are general characteristics, and you should always balance your knowledge and experience with the unique attributes of the coworker you're interacting with. A generation is a group of people who are programmed at the same time in history. During their first, most formative years, they are coded with data about what is right and wrong, good and bad, stylish and unstylish. A generation shares a common set of formative events and trends, headlines and heroes, music and mood, parenting style, and education system. As they grow older, they learn and grow. They adjust their behaviors and build their skills, but they generally do not radically change the way they view the world. The 4 generations are traditionalists, baby boomers, Generation X, and Generation Y.
Born between 1922 and 1945, traditionalists are the generation whose vision and hard work created the United States as we know it. And viewed as a body, their accomplishments are staggering. They are solid, reliable, no-nonsense performers. Traditionalist lives were defined by the following. In a word, traditionalists are loyal. Traditionalists' formative years were marked by a strong sense of commitment to families, soldiers, country, and community. The mood was watchful. Traditionalists built the infrastructure of the modern American business, and their values and work ethic continue to influence policies and procedures today. They see work as a privilege. Some of the compelling messages from the traditionalist formative years include: make or do without, stay in line, sacrifice, be heroic, consider the common good. This is a generation who learned at an early age that by putting aside the needs and wants of the individual and working towards common goals, they could accomplish amazing things. Traditionalists have an immense amount of faith in institutions, from the church to the government to the military. And in fact, their experience in the military, over 50% of traditionalist men were veterans, taught them that a top-down approach was the most efficient way to get things done. Today, the management style of many traditionalists is still modeled on the military chain of command. Core values of this generation include dedication, sacrifice, hard work, conformity, law and order, patience, respect for authority, duty before pleasure, adherence to rules, honor. The traditionalist core values are evident in their work behaviors. Traditionalists are loyal to their employer and expect the same in return. Possess superb interpersonal skills, believe promotions, raises, and recognition should come from job tenure. Measure work ethic on timeliness, productivity, and not drawing attention. As employees, traditionalists have a variety of weaknesses and strengths. Weaknesses of traditionalists include being uncomfortable with change, unwillingness to challenge authority, and being uncomfortable with conflict. But their strengths outweigh it and are often stable, hardworking, thorough, and detail-oriented.
I have always enjoyed work. and I truly mean that. I have always seen work as a way for me to extend myself, to reach out to others. It's a challenge, and I have always wanted to do a job that I could take pride in and that I did enjoy.
The reason I go to work is it adds structure to my life. And as I mentioned in one of the earlier questions that was asked of me, I enjoy being a contributor to my society, and I enjoy assisting other individuals. So to sum it up, I go to work for structure, to assist other people, and I generally enjoy the type of work I'm doing.
Well, I prefer a peaceful work environment where everybody works together to do the very best for the company and to fulfill the duties and the mission of their job and their employer.
What is really important to me in my life is being a productive member of society. I want to be a contributor, and when I go home each night, I want to be able to say, I did this and I did that. So to sum it up, I want to be a contributor, and that's always been my objective in my working of a professional environment.
Born between 1946 and 1960, baby boomers are the largest generation in the workplace and continue to hold most of the power. They grew up in the post-World War II era and were the first generation to be graded on their report cards for working well with others and share materials with classmates. Baby boomers' lives were defined by the following. Baby boomers' formative years were marked by global rebuilding and recovering economies. The mood of the times was future-oriented. When baby boomers arrived on the job, they were committed to making things different and chose to make the workplace as a vehicle for proving their worth. Some of the compelling messages from baby boomers' formative years include: be anything you want to be, change the world, work well with others, live up to expectation, duck and cover. The booming post-war economy gave the United States of the late 1940s, 50s, and 60s a sense that anything was possible, and boomers grew up in the relatively affluent, opportunity-rich world. At 80 million strong, one trait that marks the baby boomers generation is competitiveness. While graced with many opportunities, boomers have had to fight for much of what they've achieved against the sheer numbers of peers competing for the same jobs and promotion. Baby boomers have been labeled the me generation, in part because they were privileged to be able to focus on what it would take to get ahead. They saw flaws in the way the world was being managed and believed they had the idealism, education, and sheer numbers on their side to change it. The core values of this generation include team orientation, question authority, personal gratification, health and wellness, personal growth, youth, work, involvement. The boomers' core values are evident in their work behaviors. Baby boomers believe in and evaluate themselves and others based on their work ethic, measure the work ethic by hours worked. Productivity during those hours is less important. Teamwork is critical to success. Believe relationship building is very important. Expect loyalty from those they work with. As employees, baby boomers have a variety of strengths and weaknesses. Weaknesses are: may put process ahead of result, oversensitive to feedback, judgmental of those who see things differently. Strengths are: service-oriented, driven and willing to go the extra mile, good team players.
The work ethics of other people are not going to be the same as yours. Them coming to work before 8 o'clock or going home after 5 o'clock may not be what they do. I mean, they may be the type of person that leaves at 5:15 and gets to work at 8:01 or whatever the case may be. It depends on how you were raised what your parents taught you as your work ethics.
The type of work environment I like is a cordial work environment that then consists of teamwork. I'm a team player. I love to be a team player. I think we can get more accomplished as a team versus an individual.
I text because my children text and my husband texts to me, so that's a good way to communicate. Is it the best way to communicate? I like one-on-one and face-to-face better than I do the phone or even texting. I just feel like talking is the best tool.
Why do I go to work every day? Number one, I enjoy my work. I enjoy what I do, but also to provide for my family.
Born between 1961 and 1980, Generation X marks the period of birth decline after the baby boom and is significantly smaller than previous and succeeding generations. On the whole, they are more ethnically diverse and better educated than the baby boomers. Generation X's lives were defined by the following. Generation X came of age in an era of two-income families, rising divorce rates, and a faltering economy. As children, they heard adults worrying aloud about recession and inflation and watched leaders like President Nixon fall from grace. The mood of the era was cautious. Many of Generation X saw their workaholic parents lose hard-earned positions, and unlike previous generations, members of Generation X worked to live rather than live to work. Some of the compelling messages from Generation X's formative years include: don't count on it. Heroes don't exist. Get real. Take care of yourself. Always ask why. Generation X grew up seeing every major American institution called into question, from the presidency to the military to organized religion and corporate America. Combine that with a divorce rate that tripled during the birth years of Generation X, and you have a generation that distrusts the permanence of institutional and personal relationships. Additionally, many were latchkey kids who had to learn to take care of themselves, so on the job they tend to be resourceful and self-sufficient and value freedom and responsibility. Many in this generation display a casual disdain for authority, and rather than being committed to one employer, are more willing to change jobs to get ahead. Core values of this generation include diversity, global thinking, balance, techno-literacy, fun, informality, self-reliance, pragmatism. Generation X's core values are evident in their work behaviors. Generation X shuns the hardcore, super-motivated, do-or-die boomer work ethic, wants open communication regardless of position, title, or tenure, respects production over tenure and results over role, values control of their time, looks for a person in whom they can invest their loyalty, not a company. As employees, Generation X has a variety of weaknesses and strengths. Weaknesses include impatient, can have poor people skills, cynical. Strengths include adaptable, not intimidated by authority, creative.
What's important in my life is happiness, and what makes me happy is good health, always being fit and energetic. Being happy also is carried over into my career, liking what I do, liking my profession, liking the people I work with, and of course, happiness to me is my family and friends as well.
Family's probably the thing that matters the most at the end of the day. Everything else is nice, but family is has always been important. We've always vacationed to see family, made priorities to do family events, and blood is always thicker than water, and that holds true for me.
I don't really take a lunch break. I just keep eating as I'm working throughout the day. I feel that if I take a lunch break on the days that I do, because we'll do co-workers' birthday lunches and whatnot, that I'm unproductive the rest of the day. I'd rather just go home and end it. If I got to stay in that rhythm and that work routine, and if I get out of it, I tend to not want to come back. So I like to just eat here at lunch.
You need the paycheck to, live life. Granted, I do work that I enjoy, which does make it better. But first and foremost, if I won the lottery and had $1 million, would I still go to work? Probably not. I would still stay busy and volunteer. But the need for a paycheck is probably the overriding reason.
Born between 1981 and 1999, Generation Y is the newest and fastest growing generation in the workplace. Generation Y is certain to be the most carefully studied of all the generations and is expected to rapidly affect the way organizations are run. This generation grew up with technology, seeing the world as global, connected, and 24/7. Generation Y's lives have been defined by the following. Generation Y has the benefit of the wisdom of each generation that has gone before. It's as if the traditionalists have given them a dose of their loyalty and faith in institutions, baby boomers have given them the confidence to be optimistic about their ability to make things happen, and Generation X has given them just enough skepticism to be cautious. Raised by highly communicative, participation-oriented parents, Generation Y was often involved in family decision-making. They grew up with a much more casual exposure to multiculturalism than any earlier generation. Many were required to serve time volunteering in order to graduate from high school, and they exhibit high levels of social concern and responsibility. They want a work-life balance that allows time for family, friends, volunteering, sports, social events, and further skill development. Some of the compelling messages from their formative years are: you are special, leave no one behind, connect 24/7, achieve now, and serve your community. Members of Generation Y tend to be goal and achievement oriented. They arrive on the job with higher expectations than any of the earlier generations, seek out new challenges, and are not afraid to question authority. They value teamwork and seek the input and affirmation of others. In the workplace, they are loyal, committed, and want to be included and involved. Generation Y wants meaningful work and a solid learning curve, and with a click of the mouse, they can notify thousands of their peers about which companies match or fall short of their ideals. Core values of this generation include confidence, civic duty, achievement, sociability, morality, diversity, and consumer smarts. Generation Y's core values are evident in their work behaviors. Generation Y wants open, constant communication and positive reinforcement from their boss. Finds working with someone of the traditionalist generation easy to do. Searches for a job that provides great personal fulfillment. Is searching for ways to shed the stress in their lives. As employees, Generation Y has a variety of weaknesses and strengths. Their weaknesses include the need for supervision and structure, fast-track career expectations, and inexperience handling difficult people issues. Their strengths include tenacity, multitasking capabilities, and technologically savvy.
Work environments that I like are organized, challenging,
productive, clear objectives, and where lower management and upper management work together for the same common goal.
I definitely noticed the benefit of working with others. You get so many different ideas, and you can make things so much bigger and so much greater when you work with several people. So if I'm doing some events, I'll go out, reach out to other people and try to see if they want to work together.
Well, the types of technology that I use first are my cell phone, in which I receive and send text messages, send and receive emails, make and receive phone calls. Second would be my laptop and my iPad or tablet. And then third would be my desktop computer, office and home. And social media, I'm very involved in social media. I have a Twitter account, I have a Facebook account, I have a YouTube account, and I visit various blog sites because I value other people's opinion. You have to nowadays.
My career is really important to me, and I want to grow in my career, and I want to learn, and I want to make an impact. I want to make a difference to the public, and I want to build a reputation and for my career to strengthen that, and also to get the message out to show everyone why recycling is so important, and to make sure I can explain to them and help everyone understand and hopefully get involved.
According to AARP, the U.S. workforce in 2011 had members from all 4 generations. The largest component is still the baby boomers, accounting for 38% of the workforce. Gen X accounts for a third, and Gen Y makes up a quarter of all employees. The smallest group are the traditionalists, who make up 5% of the workforce. As time goes on, Generation Y will account for an increasing share of the workforce, while baby boomers and traditionalists begin to exit the working world. The city has all 4 generations working side by side. Unlike the U.S. workforce, Generation X is the largest generation in the workplace, with over half of the employees. Gen Y and baby boomers make up just less than a quarter of the city's workforce, and traditionalists just make up a slight 1%. Baby boomers and traditionalists are represented in much smaller numbers in the city than the U.S. workforce as a whole because of the city's pension plans and mandatory retirement requirements in public safety positions.
Finding common ground with members of our own generation at work is relatively easy. Having lived through the same formative times and having shared the same points of reference, we tend to share a feeling of connectedness. But with members of other generations, connecting can be much more difficult. The same factors that bind one generation can drive apart members of different generations. Generational differences can lead to frustration, conflict, and poor morale. Because each generation came of age in a distinct and unique era, each has its own perspective on such critical business issues as leadership, communication, problem solving, and decision making. Let's look at examples of how the generations see the work world differently, why they see it that way, and potential conflicts that may arise when multiple generations come together. In a survey conducted by Linda Gravitt, one of the authors of Bridging the Generation Gap, 500 people from each of the 4 generations were asked what characteristics of other generations in the workplace bothered them the most. These were their answers. 4 in 10 traditionalists believe people in their early 20s don't respect their elders and have no work ethic. They also believe young people are impatient for career success. Over half of baby boomers believe young people have no loyalty to the company. Nearly a third say people in their 20s and 30s have no work ethic. And like the traditionalists, they believe young people are impatient for career success. Nearly half of Generation X believe baby boomers are too bossy. 3 in 10 say traditionalists won't accept change. And like their grandparents and parents, a quarter of them also believe people in their teens and early 20s have no work ethic. 44% of Generation Y think older employees are bossy and set in their ways. A third of them say older people don't understand technology, and almost a quarter say older people don't treat them with respect. Because the generations have different perspectives on issues like work ethic, leadership, and authority, these differences, though subtle, can cause misunderstandings if not managed well.
While there are clearly significant differences among generations, there are also many commonalities, and employees of all ages want a supportive work environment where they are recognized and appreciated. We may be from different generations, but we have common needs and frustrations with our workplace. People of all ages view work as a vehicle for personal fulfillment and satisfaction, not just for a paycheck. Workplace culture is important to job satisfaction of all employees. For all generations, the highest indicator of satisfaction is to feel value on the job. Additionally, people of all generations want to work for and with people they know they can trust. They also want leaders who are credible and trustworthy. Most people don't care about the age of the leader, but they do want someone who listens well and is foresighted and encouraging. Following are some commonalities among generations. We all want respect. We all want a positive relationship with our boss. We all want a positive work environment. We all have to deal with office politics. Transition and changes can be very hard for everyone. Everyone wants to learn.
Creating an environment where all 4 generations can work collaboratively and respectfully is essential to organizational sustainability and growth. Ideally, managers should strive to create an environment that is relatively autonomous, celebrates achievements, creates a sense of purpose, direction, and excitement about achieving organizational goals, provides challenging and fulfilling work, enables employees to get new skills, and provides top management support. Managers should also provide frequent, timely, and relevant communication to their teams and create a two-way dialogue with employees. However, each generation has different expectations about the frequency and type of communication. When communicating with a traditionalist, words and tone of voice should be respectful, with good grammar, clear diction, no slang and profanity. Language should be a bit formal and professional, and the message should relate to the company history and its long-term goals. When communicating with a baby boomer, the conversation should be more relational, perhaps over coffee or lunch. Boomers tend to see relationship and business results as intertwined. Ask about mutual interests. Make the conversation participative by getting the other's inputs, and link the message to the team or individual vision, mission, and values. When communicating with Generation X, don't waste the person's time. Be direct and straightforward. Avoid corporate speak. Send an email or leave a voicemail that clearly states what you want, how it will serve them, and when you want it. When communicating with Generation Y, be positive. Send a text message or meet face-to-face. Tie the message to their personal goals or to the goals of the whole team that the team is working towards. And don't be condescending and avoid cynicism and sarcasm. Traditionalists prefer a leader who is direct, logical, fair, consistent, respectful, and who identifies a clear direction that sets out long-term goals and expectations. Make time for personal interactions. Appreciate and respect their experience. Use them as a mentor or coach. Structure technology training carefully. Provide flexible work options to retain them, and provide continuing opportunities to grow and learn. Baby boomers prefer a leader who is consensual, democratic, warm and caring, and who treats them as an equal, is a people person, works with the group to define mission and vision, and assures them that he or she is making a difference. Respect their hard work. Ask for their input and expertise. Allow them avenues to build consensus. Give them public recognition for their work. Provide opportunities for personal and professional development. Put them in charge of projects that build name recognition and demonstrate their leadership savvy. Generation X prefers a leader who is competent, genuine, results-oriented, informal, and who is direct and straightforward. Gives a project and leaves it to him or her to do. Looks for development opportunities for them. Allow for autonomy. Provide access to information and decision makers. Offer regular feedback, both constructive and critical. Create opportunities for fun at work. Judge their results, not their process. And utilize the latest computer technology. Generation Y prefers a leader who is positive, collaborative, and who coaches and supports them, provides structure, and leaves time for friendships. Demonstrate leadership and coaching skills. Challenge them by providing opportunities for increasing responsibility. Recognize and support their personal goals. Be flexible about their work schedules and assignments. Respect their personal achievements and their emerging professional credibility. Build relationships that are collaborative in nature.
So what does this mean for the City of Greenville? The workplace is different today, and it's changing fast. We're reliant on fast-changing technology. There's more turnover. Job jumping is common. More productivity is demanded as we're expected to do more with less. The traditional government career is over. Employees are no longer beginning and ending their career in one organization. Public and private sectors are competing for emerging leadership talent. The newest generation hitting the workforce is huge, and the organization will have to adjust as a result. As the baby boomers retire, there will be a leadership vacuum. Who will fill that vacuum, and how will we prepare them for the work? It's clear that the City of Greenville must learn to manage, develop, and lead a 21st century workforce. By helping employees become more aware and accepting of generational differences, we are more likely to increase creativity, productivity, and morale. By taking advantage of generation gaps rather than allowing them to harm our organization, we are also more likely to be the employer of choice in the future, and therefore more capable of attracting and retaining a skilled workforce.